I have no mouth, and I must scream. Would you still love me if I was a bear in the woods? Trigger warning. The following contains violence, gore, the elderly, DDLG, and spoilers for the following. Today we're going to be learning that beauty really is skin deep, because I've seen what's under there and it's not pretty. And I've seen what's on top of it and oh god. I guess beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. This is good news. Have you ever been dissatisfied with the weakness of your flesh? Do you crave the strength and certainty of steel? Or do you aspire to the purity of the blessed machine? Maybe you still believe the crude biomass you call a temple will not decay and fail you due to injury, illness, or alien mutations. If any of that applies to you, congratulations! Get on the table because you're about to find out all the cruel and unusual ways your body can betray you. And maybe have a barf bag ready.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Body horror is the exploration of that deep anxiety we all have that the flesh suits we pilot just aren't as sturdy as we think. Less about...
You now have 15 seconds to comply.
and more.
I can feel them, but I can't remember them.
Body horror usually comes in three flavors: the biological, the technological, and the magical. The biological is transformation based within the ordinary components of the body. Nothing is added or removed except the direct cause of the change that happens. The technological will be some kind of machinery that is added to the body as a means of substituting flesh for something artificial. The magical are transformations that do not have a cause that's grounded in some kind of established reasoning. The body can do what it does simply because it can.
This is good news. We can finally be bees.
All of these will be representative of some outside force exerting control that a character will either try to reject in order to establish their individuality, or they'll submit and be subsumed. But if that sounds good, why don't I have you for dinner? What are you making?
I chose sensation.
This will feel a little weird.
Steady now. Your genetic code is being rewritten. Just hold on and everything will be fine.
Body horror evokes the visceral response we have to human bodies when they're incorrect. Stuff that gives you the heebies. Has life got you down? Do the adrenochrome orgies not hit the way they used to? Introducing the lament configuration.
It's a puzzle.
4 out of 5 Cenobites agree. Solving it will have you feeling more than you ever have before. Don't you mean feeling better? No. Nobody wants to feel powerless, trapped in our own bodies, and when we try looking within to see what's wrong. Would you still love me if I was whether it's a desire for greater hedonistic pleasure or the reversal of a chronic disease, when we reach the limits of what our bodies and minds are capable of, the question in your mind shifts from how do I fix this to how can I escape this? Pain can tell you a lot about someone, from how desperate they are to how much of a threat they are, how otherworldly they are, or what happens when you hit them in the ball nerve. There are some sensations we experience that aren't directly related to ouchies, or even physical touch, though that may be how they're conveyed. Devoted love, sexuality, claustrophobia, dysmorphia, illness, and let's not forget flavor. Not to speak too broadly, but sensation being a physiological response means that the state of our body determines the way we feel both physically and emotionally, and the way an external force alters that physiology creates a more direct connection between the force and the sensation. Rather than needing to do the work of visualizing introspection, it's an easily recognized invasion. The difference between a new sensation and an old one becomes a means of articulating how it drives us to
We have such sights to show you.
Body horror is not exclusively about the destruction of the flesh, but the alteration of it, to convey themes about non-physical changes we undergo in real life as physical changes for the characters. It becomes a visual representation of the character's progression along their arc from one perspective to another. The more they are encroached upon, the more an outlook takes hold until they find the synthesis that results in self-actualization. Change is cyclical in the way we change ourselves and the way the world changes us. One happens as a response to the other. Because the world changes, we change. And because we change, the world changes. In District 9, Wickus works at a corporation where he is allowed to wield institutional power over an alien group he does not outright hate but clearly has bias against.
I always thought the Browns were intelligent, you know?
He says this while standing in a spaceship, and his slow transformation into one of the aliens helps him to discover the true extent of their plight. Where once he was only trying to get back to the life he had prior to his transformation, his new understanding makes truly going back impossible, because he knows that the system he's participating in is unjust.
Leave that fucking prawn, man! I will shoot a pig!
The lengths he will go to avoid becoming a prawn signify what being a prawn actually is, and that he is more aware of their situation than he lets on.
He shot at me! I did. I promise you, I didn't know they were doing this.
Despite that, for the majority of the movie, Wickus is only trying to reverse his changes. It's only at the very end that he makes peace with them, and in so doing, the prawns now have the best possible chance of changing their circumstances. Wickus changes, and it changes the world. We're always trying to keep up with the person we want to be while stuck in the person that we are. Though we might desire specific change, the time it takes to actually transform has a greater effect on what the eventual change will be than the desire itself. The ideal state we pursue is based on a previous understanding of the world, and the way the world continuously changes means that the ideal is inherently outdated by the time we would reach it. Body horror becomes a representation of that progression. The inner conflict between two forces pulling you in separate directions becomes a physical one, two identities unable to reconcile. Like two mirrors bouncing a reflection back and forth, never perfectly aligned with one another. New understanding brings us to a synthesis between the physical change and the emotional one. We bring about the death of the previous self and the emergence of a new one. Pursuit is not static. Real change is derived from motivated effort. Overcoming the fear of change you did not seek and rejecting the change that you did becomes the key to accepting the new version of yourself.
What's he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
The regret that comes with the choices we make in pursuit of change or in its avoidance cannot be the motivating factor in how we reconcile those split identities. Regret is not progress, it's stagnation. In The Matrix, Neo is seeking out Morpheus, someone with the power to live outside the system he feels is controlling and oppressing him. But by the end, his pursuit brings him to the crystallization of his own identity as Neo. In so doing, he ascends beyond the limitations of his programmed world around him. He is an individual outside of the system that sought to control him. Whether or not the analogy of the system actually holds up is a separate critique that the Wachowskis tried to address themselves.
I love my daughter very much.
Though physically their transformations end at opposite points, both Wickus and Neo's internal and external changes are linked by a progression that results in self-actualization through their willingness to confront the systems that had infiltrated their bodies. It's critical to understand that body horror is a representation of outside power and influence changing us down to our physical forms. It isn't something that spontaneously occurs outside of a thematic intent.
The cosmic spores, of course, represented AIDS.
Empathy is our ability to recognize and relate to the experience of someone else.
Why my eyes, sir? You've never used them before.
It's why
I can pick up this pencil, tell you its name is Steve, and go like this. Oh. And part of you dies.
That's not limited to people who would deserve your sympathy.
You didn't even let me say goodbye.
Dallas, Salad. Boggle.
There are layers to how you can interpret the story of Beauty and the Beast in terms of class and gender representation, but those criticisms should serve your relationship with overall trends in storytelling rather than individual stories. To say that every story, or even a majority of stories, have some kind of moral requirement to only adhere to certain themes is restrictive, not just of how we tell stories, but how we choose to engage with empathy.
Who cares?
nightmares.
That might sound like a tangent, but it's necessary to talk about the relationship between empathy and social pressure and how those two things relate to the way we engage with body horror.
Boy, Morty, I really Cronenberg'd the world up, didn't I? We got a whole planet of Cronenbergs walking around down there, Morty.
Oh my god, it's a living nightmare!
Belle expresses sympathy for the Beast, but the Beast is not inherently deserving of it.
You will join me for dinner. That's not a request.
Body horror can act as a means of overriding selective empathy.
Will you come down to dinner?
No.
If Beast wasn't a beast, he would just be an angry guy, but somehow transforming into a more animalistic version of himself, he becomes more sympathetic. It turns the emotional state of a character into a physical representation, making it impossible to ignore when engaging with them.
Come, show me the smile.
That's why I think body horror is interesting, because it forces you to be sympathetic to characters who might not deserve it, and in so doing question whether they were not deserving at all. It's not just in his nature to be the way that he is. It shows the way that we are all susceptible to the same forces that transformed him. Gender and class perspectives would tell us that the Beast is undeserving of Belle's help in becoming a better person for the sake of alleviating the curse put upon him. But the point of the story is that it's possible to overcome those faults, and that we can still be accepted in spite of them. But the imagery of the Beast became the overriding issue for both himself and the world at large. He came to embody what the world sees him as, and as a result came to believe that's all he deserves. Whether or not the Beast truly deserves a happy ending for himself, we can learn from his experience that change is possible, and that we shouldn't mistake the way we see ourselves for the way others see us.
Just let them come.
And it's not that the transformation is, in itself, indicative of personal character. The ability to see someone's humanity despite or because of a transformation is dependent on what the transformation actually means to whoever undergoes it. For example, the Mechanicus is a faction Warhammer 40k dedicated to the maintenance of technology, worshipping machines to the point of replacing their own body parts with cybernetic implants. This glorification of technology has led to a devaluing of ordinary humanity, and so they turn those they deem disposable into machines that can serve functions from assembly, to elevator controls, to religious paraphernalia. Don't worry, those babies were lobotomized. In Beetlejuice, Barbara and Adam transform themselves into hideous monsters in order to scare the Dietz family out of their home. But in so doing, realize their own inhumanity and decide that they should be willing to share their house.
Adam, I want to be with Lydia.
They see where they're going and they decide to turn around. Meanwhile, those in the Mechanicus see the horror and they aspire to it. Their lack of humanity is laid bare, stripping themselves down until they are fully integrated into technology.
For the machine is immortal.
Beauty and the Beast isn't about letting people be monsters, it's about helping people see that they're not. We all aspire to be better versions of ourselves, and that includes the way we choose to change our body. Simple maintenance like diet and exercise, or the treatments we use to overcome aging, are all transformations of the self. The only question is how far we're willing to go in that pursuit, and what the benefits of it will be. When your body is constantly working against you despite your best efforts, how do you convey the true sense of exhaustion or instability, the powerlessness to control what is happening to you, that the encroachment into your flesh is permanent and scarring? Like an alien when the crew of the Nostromo is intentionally redirected by Weyland-Yutani so that they can be involuntarily implanted with xenomorph larvae to be studied for the creation of bioweapons. Their lives are expendable at the will of their employer and the creature they've unintentionally brought on board with them. The imagery intentionally meant to evoke sexual violation as a facehugger forces itself on one of them, reproduces, and violently emerges. Through it all, they have no choice and they have no control. The struggle to endure trauma is persistent long past the point when it was inflicted, and the desire for control becomes a means of withstanding it.
There's gotta be a way of killing it. How? How do we do it?
You can't.
Body horror allows us to recognize and empathize with the violation experienced by others at the loss of control over their bodies.
I need cesarean.
This is the future feminists want, and I agree with them. As we all know, if men could be pregnant, abortions wouldn't just be easily accessible, they would be encouraged.
Male patients only.
Eugenics? No. We-genics. Sorry if that take is kind of spicy. It's just, men's idea of body horror is, what if I were a woman? And women's idea of body horror is, what if I were trapped with a man? I should know, I'm trapped with one every day. That's right, all body horror is a trans allegory, and its pronouns are ick, ew. Don't believe me? So, Alex Murphy wants to be a hero cop for his kid.
And you don't want to disappoint?
And then he's transformed into the ultimate masculine image of strength, complete with a big gun,
Dick.
new chest.
This is a must.
He has to deal with bigotry.
Let that unholy monster of yours out of your fucking mind.
systemic oppression, orchiectomies,
They're balls, sweetheart.
dead naming,
Murphy, it's you.
and having more experience with computer systems than the people in charge of running them.
Hey, this is a restricted area.
Over the course of his story, Murphy seeks to reclaim his heteronormative life but emerges on the other side with his chosen identity and a newfound self-acceptance.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name?
You're gonna be a bad motherfucker.
And we can't very well have our products turning against us.
Murphy, it's you.
Murphy.
These stories tell us that being trans brings you to a higher plane of understanding about the secrets of the universe. But it's that feeling of being trapped and that desire for change that makes body horror so powerful and unnerving. Of course, as I showed earlier, the unintentional consequence of conveying this feeling is the association of the overall experience of being trans with the pain that comes from the social stigma and isolation, more so than the relief of social acceptance.
It's really good to see you again, Murphy.
That's why I call upon you, my kind and enlightened audience, to tell your local trans person that you love them today.
Thank you.
Transformation is ugly. It's painful. It's a reckoning with our conceptions of image and identity. When that transformation is brought to the forefront, we can engage with that struggle in a more honest and vulnerable way. Everyone is a constant work in progress. Body horror shows us the ways we hurt ourselves as we try to change, and the ways the world can punish us for not being the same. The change happens whether we want it to or not. Transformation might be out of our control, but what we turn into is up to us. It creeps up on us with every small decision that we make without thinking about it, eventually cascading into moments of deep consideration. It's not a matter of big moments, but the hundreds of innocuous choices we make prior to that lead us there. The beast is not transformed on the whims of an old witch. He's transformed by the way he lived up to that point. The witch just makes it literal. Alex Murphy's desire to be a good cop leads him into a situation he isn't prepared for, and his journey takes him back to his own identity, altered but individual. Neo is found by Morpheus because Neo spends his time searching for him. He goes from being at the mercy of the system to the system being at the mercy of him. That's why transformation is so painful. It's those brief moments of recognition when we see outside ourselves that we've come to a culmination. We are in this situation because of who we are, and we leave with a new idea of who we want to be. And that's okay, because we can always decide to be someone new. There's always new opportunities to make decisions that bring us to a new path, that culminate in a new synthesis of our identities.
Is Neo.
Body horror shows us that the ugliest part of changing isn't what we want to become, it's what we want to leave behind. The one thing that does not change is things changing. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. If you want to see more, click like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, leave a comment telling me to fuck off. But then like and subscribe.